I'm Tracy Rigdon, and this is the Contrast Project Lounge podcast. Often random, always relevant, always real, and practically nothing is off limits. Are you ready for this? Let's do it. Welcome back to another edition of the Contrast Project Lounge podcast. You know what? It's October, and we're going into the Halloween season, and then after that, we're going into the holiday season. But for today, I thought we would sit there for a minute and talk about the arts community within Jacksonville, within Northeast Florida, and how it pertains to like I said, we're talking about Halloween, we're talking about the macabre, we're talking about, whatever it is that, floats your fucking boat. And I got in touch with this guy here, Duval Destroyer, and he produces some stuff that I really like. For the likes of me, I can't understand. I don't understand why more people don't look at some of the art that's coming out of Northeast Florida and say, my gosh, this is some original shit. So joining me today, Mr. Destroyer. D, how you doing, buddy?
Yo, what's good, Tracy? How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, so tell me a little bit about your artwork, where it came from, what it was that you came up with this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up here in Jacksonville, born and raised in the swamps and the back alleyways. And really, it's just kind of, that's where it started. I was that jit kid in the alleyway with a marker or a can of paint, just making some marks and getting into trouble. And, just progressed from there, still at it.
So so you're a native. I'm a native, and you're talking about, growing up in Jacksonville. What side of town did you grow up on?
I grew up on the south side.
Okay.
And west side. I lived on the west side a little bit too, but mostly south side.
Okay. I come from the north side.
Okay.
Yep. Born and raised. But you know what? And I'm guessing that I'm far and away older than you. And I will tell you that growing up on the north side of Jacksonville, there was not an awful lot of art scene. There wasn't a big art scene. But as I moved older, as I got a little further along in my years, I began to realize that there's a shitload of artists in this town.
Yeah.
And I got very involved in the people over there at the Cork area, and that's where you meet. I'm telling you, we were saying before, we hit record, I was asking, what's going on with the rest of the town. But if you really think about the arts community, everybody that is looking at the arts community, they always seem to say 5 points, Cork, district.
Mm-hmm.
And you really can't find, if you go to Cork district, let's say when they have open studios, right? You can meet so many people there that are from all over the city, all over the country, basically. And they will tell you where the art's at.
Yeah, I painted a wall out there in the courtyard there. I got a big wall of skulls out there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you ask somebody, if you go into the Cork district and you ask somebody, who's doing what this week? And they always know. I can tell you right now, I could pick up the phone and ask Hope McMath because she's right there in the center of it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been around the arts community forever and ever fucking ever.
Yeah, love Hope.
And you can ask her, hey, Hope, what's going on this weekend? And she'll tell you because she knows.
Yeah, there's a lot of good shit going on over there for sure. But like you said, there's people all over the city. It's wild, like how many people are in the woodwork, that you've never heard of, that you meet. And you're like, where do these people come from? There's tons of creative people here in Duval.
Absolutely. And not just in the visual arts,
music, Theater,
Yeah.
film, all that, everything.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's a big film community in Northeast Florida, and you got like we were saying, visual arts, but you got people in the literary arts. Uh,
Mhm.
uh, a shitload of really good authors. My good friend Tim Gilmore.
Yeah, I love
Um,
his work.
oh, the dude has written like 23 or 24 fucking books.
Yeah. I
Uh,
love the underground nature of what he does as well. It's just, like, shit you would never know about otherwise, and he's really, like, get digs deep.
Exactly, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
he's a professor at one of the local colleges, and he teaches English literature. That's his paycheck. But I mean, the dude he's appeared on the Contrast Project here with us way back before. He was like one of our first guests when we had a studio over in Murray Hill before we had the pandemic. But Tim and I have been friends for years and years and years, and he's appeared on the show both in studio and online many times.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. So tell
Love
me,
that guy.
oh yeah, yeah, he's fantastic. Let me ask you a question there, D. When are you planning on making? Is there a metamorphosis? Is there something new coming out of your artwork? I know you do a lot of, like I say, the skulls, the black and white stuff, and all that.
Mhm.
Is there something else in your portfolio?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have several bodies of work. The Skulls is kind of a long-running, ongoing project that I just keep adding to. I kinda call it the Destroyer family, but when I do
Right.
another one, I just keep adding it to the mix, and it's almost like each project, it grows a little bit more and continues. I see it kinda like as an ongoing living catacomb kind of skulls, so I call that the Destroyer family. But, yeah, I got some other stuff in the works.
Nice.
For
I I will tell you, when I'm looking at some of the skulls, and I'm thinking about getting a new tattoo.
Hey, okay, I like it.
Well, I got a shitload of.
So you got a tattooer that you like, or who's your
What's
guy?
that?
Who's your tattooer?
Well, I don't have a favorite right now. It's been it's been about, I guess 8 years. 8 years since I've had any ink done.
Bunch of good
So I
tattoo
don't know.
artists here
I don't know.
too.
You tell me.
Hey, there's a bunch of good ones out here. That's hard to pick, man. That's another arts area here that's strong in this community is tattooing.
I'm
Bunch of good
thinking.
ones.
Well, I'm thinking if I do choose to get something, it might be like Black Hive or something like that.
Mhm.
I hear they're really good. So
I
so if I
know of
was
the spot. I know some of those artists.
okay, I got a shitload of ink on my body right now. If I were to get a tattoo, if I were to go out this weekend, let's say for instance, I were to go out and get a tattoo this weekend, and I wanted to pick one of your illustrations, which one would you recommend?
I think you gotta go with the classic Easy. That's the kind of the hit single right there.
The classic Duval thingy?
Yeah, I think that's the guy for you right there. The
Now,
greatest hits, you know?
the greatest the
Hey, listen, I lived on the West Coast. I lived in New York a couple times as well as the West Coast. And, I changed the hat. It used to say Compton, so I changed it to Duval. And I was concerned that when I went to the West Coast and started putting it up, because I was putting up some big pieces out there with that one. And I was concerned that I was going to catch shit for
Really?
changing Compton to Duval. And I was out one night putting up a big face, and a couple guys walk up on me and they're like, "Hey," "oh, what?" And one guy says, "Is that easy?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, tells his boy, "Yeah, I told you that was easy." Didn't say anything about the Duval or the hat, so I'm like, "All right, I guess I'm all right for now." But yeah, that was my changing from Compton to Duval and being on the West Coast. But yeah, it's gangster. It gets gangster out here in Duval. You know how it is.
Yeah, I know. I know. You never know what's going to happen over in Duval, I guess. I live out in the boondocks, but I was born and bred over there in Duval, and spent all my time over there. And one thing I do know, I never, I can't think of I honestly can't think of a decent tattoo artist on the north side. I'm not saying in Jacksonville, Duval, whatever. I'm just saying on the north side, bunch of scratch hacks. But and I might get a lot of flack for saying that because there
I'm
might be
sure there's
somebody
some out there.
there
Again,
might be
coming out
somebody
there.
over there that's
I
good
hear
with
about
the
it
ink.
now.
But I know that there's a lot of really good tattooists over on the west side. I know that there's a lot of there actually happens to be a lot of them out here in Middleburg. There's a couple of really good ones. I went to get years ago. I'm talking about 10, 15 years ago. I went to get a tattoo over on the south side of town, and I got this guy's, I won't say who it was. I got this guy's card. I got a business card, right? And I got a friend of mine said, "Yeah, go see this guy." I said, "Okay." So I followed the damn directions to the guy was in a fucking double wide trailer over off fucking Southside Boulevard somewhere. He's in a fucking double wide trailer. I pulled up there. I pulled up to the guy's house out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, "You got to be kidding me."
Yeah. I had a similar experience. My cousin, rest in peace, we got tattooed on Mayport Road in this dude's house, and it was super sketchy. Machine broke halfway through. The guy's trying to fix the machine. He's like, "Hold on, let me get my head right." Pounding Budweisers, and it was a wild night. I'll put it that way.
Well, my very first tattoo, I was in the Army. I was airborne at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And you go into town in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And all you have on the main drag is strip clubs and tattoo parlors. That's all there is. Titties and tattoos.
Got to know your market, I guess.
Well, and I went in this one place, and the guy's name was Tattoo Larry, and he did a couple of pieces on me. And later, I found out that this guy was kind of famous. Evidently, he died. He died in a motorcycle accident. Kind of like what's his name? Goddamn. That old guy that another guy named Larry, Motorcycle Larry.
Indian Larry.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Well, this tattoo guy died the same way in a motorcycle accident, being a smart ass, hauling ass on his chopper, and he got fucking side slammed. But yeah, he did my elbow.
Okay. What year was that?
Oh God, that was like 30 fucking years ago. at least 30 years ago. Yeah.
Before everybody had tattoos.
Yeah, well, I'm covered in ink, and I'm always looking for a new one.
Yeah, man, you gotta get
that's the way we are.
Get that Duval.
I know. I remember my children. I have 3 kids, and I say kids, but they're grown ass adults. They're in their 30s now. My daughter, I guess she's about, I don't want to tell her age, but I guess she's about 35. But I remember way back years ago, she called me up and she said, "Dad, I want to get a little tattoo. Would you go with me?" And I said, "Did you tell your mother?" This was after me and her mother were already divorced. She said, "Dad, I want to get a tattoo. Would you go with me?" And I said, "Well, yeah, sure." So we jumped in the car and we went. I actually picked her up and we went to this place. I can't even remember the guy's name. I don't even remember the guy's name. But anyway, we went to this tattoo parlor down near the beach. It was on Beach Boulevard, way the fuck down there. And we went inside, and the guy asked her if she wanted that, numbing spray or put the, lidocaine gel on her skin. And she said, no, I'll go with it. No, I'm all right. And this is her first tattoo now. And she got her entire rib cage done. I thought I was going to have to take her to the fucking hospital.
Yeah, that's a doozy.
She got a rib cage done with very first tattoo. Got a rib cage done without any numbing cream. And I'm like, okay.
She had to work for that one.
I said, okay, you go with it, girl.
Nice.
God damn.
Did she get any more tattoos after that?
Oh, yeah, she's covered in them.
Nice.
Yeah, my son and my youngest boy, he did the same thing. He did the same fucking thing. He said, hey, Dad, I want to go get a tattoo. Will you come with me? And I said, yeah, I'll go. He did the same thing. He got a big old goddamn sail ship on his ribs. And I said, he said, where should I get it? I want to get it on, should I get it on my chest or should I get it on my side or, this and that? And I said, well, go ahead with your ribs, I guess. And he said, well, should I get that numbing cream? I said, nah, go with it.
Just your sister did it. You can do it. Nice.
It kicked his fucking ass.
Years ago, I got a handmade tattoo in Thailand. That was pretty wicked. It was like 5
with
needles.
The tap thing?
Well, they like reciprocated, so it wasn't tapping as much as moving the stick, like a little pull stick.
Oh,
that was
wow.
pretty wild. It was actually at a temple up in the jungle, and the head monk's like writing and doing the drawing, and then his nephew's sticking it on me. I stayed at a temple up in the mountains for part of my time in Thailand.
What were you doing in Thailand?
Just I went with a friend's mom who's a chef, and they were, from there, family there, and got lucky enough to get invited. It was amazing. It was going with a chef who's from Thailand. It was like a culinary experience. It was wild. And then staying at the temple, and then being in the city the other half the time. It was like the two extremes.
Well, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Wild. When I was there, I was doing some drawing. I met these little kids at the temple, and they didn't speak English, and I didn't speak Thai, but I'm start drawing little skulls and monsters in the dirt, and they're bugging out laughing. I'm like, okay, they like it. So I just kind of went with it. It was a pretty cool experience seeing how visual art and just drawing monsters and skulls kind of connected us. It was wild.
That's really cool. I went to, I remember going to, I was in Africa for quite a while. I was in West Africa. And the big thing there, when I went, the big thing was soccer. And worldwide football, soccer is a big deal. And if you go to those small villages, like I've spent time in Haiti and Africa and Central America, South America, been around the world. You go to these towns, you go to these villages, and when I was in Africa, these are tribal villages now. They actually have a tribal chief, right? And the kids, they have these homemade kind of balls that they kick around, and they're playing soccer, and they don't call it soccer, they call it football. So one of the teams, when I went over there, I said, hey, everybody was saying, hey, let's get volunteers to give us a bunch of shoes and shit. Let's take some shoes over there and some t-shirts and, clothes and all this stuff. I said, you know what? We're going to these villages. Why don't we take them a bunch of fucking balls?
Right. Get them some soccer balls.
Let's just take them some fucking soccer balls. And that's what we did. We loaded up boxes full of soccer balls. And when we hit those villages, I remember this one village we were in outside of West Ghana, and we had like this big two great big old boxes, big old cardboard boxes full of soccer balls. And we pulled up into the village and we just dumped these balls, and the kids went fucking crazy. The kids went crazy. It was better than they don't want no goddamn shoes. They probably could use them, but those kids didn't want those goddamn shoes. They didn't want those goddamn t-shirts. They didn't want, whatever. They wanted those soccer balls.
Good call.
And it made their day.
Nice. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, here, I'm going to pull this down.
The reveal.
Yeah. So now you can see me. Anyway, I was thinking that might be something that's, probably needed in this world right now, is to think beyond what most people would relegate us to doing is saying, hey, sometimes people just want to have fun. Sometimes people just want to relax. Sometimes we just want to take care of our kids in a way that just makes them fucking feel better.
Yeah, much needed right now, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure, you need to send them food and all that shit, but uh, sometimes, like I said, at the end of the day, uh, and you and me too, you and me too. At the end of the day, sometimes we just want to fucking have a laugh. Sometimes we just want to have a good time. Sometimes we just want to fucking relax.
Yeah, got to.
Yeah. I mean, you can feed me, you can clothe me, you can put a roof over my head, but quite honestly, that's not that's not everything that we're here for.
Yeah, agreed. You gotta have some fun.
We're not That's not what we're here for in the grand scheme of things. I wake up in the morning and I like to have a cup of coffee and talk to my cats. I have a lot of cats, and I know that a lot of people are like that. For the most part, they just want to crawl their old ass out of bed. They want to make it to the coffee pot. They want to make it to the back door. They want to make it, to the car. It doesn't matter about your bills. Okay. It doesn't matter. We're thinking, everybody's having a hard time right now. I get that. Everybody's having a hard time with paying their bills and we're having this shit going on with SNAP and all that. But you know what? At the end of the day, a lot of people just want to fucking crawl out of the bed and be able to make it to the back porch with a cup of coffee and just laugh at the fucking weather. You
Yeah,
know?
a lot of
I
people
mean,
stepping up too. I see where a lot of these chefs and restaurateurs are stepping up and feeding people that need help, which is pretty amazing to see. It's people are rising to the occasion, you know?
yeah, yeah.
We gotta hear
I'm
more
I
about that, not just the bad shit, you know?
Well, tomorrow, November 1st, is we're gonna see what's going on. We're gonna see what's going on. A lot of people are bracing for it. Uh, I am fortunate enough that I don't have SNAP. I don't have, SNAP food benefits, food stamps, what they're calling. I don't live on welfare, and I'm fortunate that way. But that does not mean that my neighbor is fortunate. That does not mean that my brother or sister is fortunate that way. That does not mean that the person that lives at the end of my fucking street is fortunate that way. And I think that's something that a lot of people are missing. A lot of people are missing that meaning. They're saying, "Well, it doesn't affect me." Well, it affects our community.
We're going without. It's gonna affect everybody.
Yeah.
One way
So
or
so let me ask you while we're on that subject. I know that a lot of artists in Northeast Florida and globally for that matter, I know that a lot of artists are involved in providing and helping people that are less fortunate. Do you know of Are you involved or do you know of people in Northeast Florida in the artist community that are involved in helping people that are less fortunate?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Hope McMath earlier. I know she does a lot in a lot of kind of
Oh yeah.
ways. Tons of other unsung heroes as well. But I've been pleasantly, amused to see everything that Hope's doing with her mutual aid, and then having the cart and the table. And I try to bring stuff by there when I can and drop off. And it's like we all need help sometimes, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised how many unsung heroes there are out there that are really doing a lot and not making a big deal or not known for it.
Yeah, that's fabulous. You were talking about Hope's her food cart over there at Yellow House. I know their first cart was built by my good friend Billy over at Eco Relics. That was their first cart, and unfortunately, some local dickheads destroyed it.
Oh, is that what happened? I didn't know.
That's what happened, and she got some volunteers and got somebody over there, and they built a new one. I haven't seen the new one yet,
Yeah, I saw
but
some photos and videos of the new one going up, but I didn't realize somebody had destroyed the other one.
yeah, somebody fucked up the old one, and they need to be whoever did it needs to be strung up.
Well, like they say, karma's a bitch or a goddess, depending on how you pay in. So,
Karma is a bitch. Karma is a bitch.
yeah.
That's right. That's right. This was years ago, but I spent a lot of time over there in that area, Stockton area, King Street, and all that. And I remember when Billy was the shop manager over there at Eco Relics, and Eco Relics graciously gave him the time to put in and do it voluntarily. He built their first one, so
Nice.
kudos to Billy. But yeah, Hope does a good thing over there. It's a fantastic. I would like to see. I would like to see a Yellow House in every major art hub.
Mhm.
Like we were saying before. What's going on in Arlington? What's going on at the beaches? Every time you log on, sometime you see the arts community. The only thing you see is in Riverside, or Five Points, or Yellow House, King Street, along that corridor. It would be nice to see a place like Yellow House in Arlington, and at the beaches, at scattered around.
Yeah,
It
that'd be
would be
amazing.
it would be a really good thing. Hope was the director over there at Comer for, gosh,
Mhm.
20 years, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's an amazing person. She was one of Hope was one that we had in the studio over at the Contrast Project when we had the studio.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna be, we're doing a fashion show over at Unicat end of the year, and Hope's gonna be one of our models. We're doing a Duval Destroyer fashion show
Where at?
at Unicat. December 20th is the tentative date.
What's the date again?
December 20th.
Okay. Okay. And I have to be there. I have to
Yeah,
be there.
definitely.
Yeah, because Shelton just asked me this morning. He said, "Hey, have you been over there to Noli's place?" I said, "No, I haven't been there yet, but I gotta go."
Yeah, you gotta check it out. We pasted a bunch of my screen prints up in their stairway, so I got the catacomb kind of vibe going in their stairwell. And then, yeah, they just had their first show, so shout out George and Noli at Unicat. And then, yeah, December 20th, the Saturday before Christmas, we're gonna do the Duval Destroyer fashion show. It should be pretty cool. We're gonna have artists and creatives from the community as the models, so it'll be kind of a atypical fashion show in that sense. Upcycled gear, a lot of stuff like that that's modified, changed, bleached, printed on. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
That's real cool. She seems to be filling a void in that area. We have rest in peace, Tammy McKinley uh had her art creative space over there at the Union Gallery, and when she passed away, it did leave a void. It really did. And I think Noli is picking up that torch and running with it.
Yeah, yeah, they got one of the best things in town as far as I'm concerned, for sure. Doing some really cool stuff over there, right across from the Old City Cemetery. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a great location.
Yeah. So I tell you what, it's been fantastic talking to you, Mr. D.
Likewise, Tracy.
Before we go, have you got any closing thoughts for me? Have you got any words of wisdom?
I think, like you said, we just gotta look out for each other this day and age. There's a lot going on. We hear a lot of bad news every day, but we gotta look out for each other and treat each other like family. That's what it's about.
That you are spot on with that one. Treat each other like family. Absolutely, absolutely. And I consider you part of my family now.
Likewise, T.
All right, all right. We'll be talking to each other soon. Peace.
Sounds good. Peace.
Well, that's a wrap for this episode of the Contrast Project Lounge podcast. Big thanks to our guests, and big thanks to you for tuning in. You can find us on all of the social media channels, wherever you are. If you like what you heard, drop us a line in the comment section below, like, share, and smash all the subscribe buttons. New episodes drop weekly. Until then, take care of yourself and take care of your people. Peace.